gun. You thought I was gonna say, son of a bitch, didn't you?
Ven, mi hijo, es tiempo para dormir. Te voy a decir un cuento de una niña como su edad que se llama Ofelia y su amiga Mercedes, la madre Carmen y el padrastro malvado Capitán Vidal. El cuento se llama El laberinto de Fauno.
De sangre, pinchazo tan solo es la última prueba. Vamos.
World War II, the infamous Battle of Normandy, Operation Overlord, would commence on June 6, 1944. Nazi Germany's control over Europe would begin to dissipate as the Allies rallied and pushed back until the liberation of occupied territories would lead to the eventual crumble of Nazi Germany. During this egregious summer, a band of rebels are hunted in Spain by a troop of soldiers led by Captain Vidal, a psychopath hell-bent on flushing his enemies by any means necessary. The Spanish Marquis stood firmly against the phalangism that was ruling Spain with an iron fist. The story of Pan's Labyrinth would be meticulously pieced together by legendary Spanish writer and director Guillermo del Toro, a vision constructed within his mind in great detail before a script was even written. A spiritual successor to his 2001 film, The Devil's Backbone, Pan's Labyrinth was shaped by his love of fables, both beautiful and twisted. A childlike tale of magic and intrigue set within the brutal violence of war and sadism. This amalgamation of fairy tale and warfare would be brought to life using cutting-edge makeup work, puppeteering, animatronics, and CGI effects, in conjunction of fantastic acting and overall stellar performances. Sometimes less is more with Pan's Labyrinth, as dialogue is often set aside, letting the scene breathe and letting actions and sound push the narrative forward. At its heart, Pan's Labyrinth is indeed a dark fairy tale. The story of a princess from the Underworld, setting foot alongside humans and losing her eyesight to the glaring sun as well as her memory. The princess Moana would eventually become mortal and perish. A distraught king vows for his daughter to one day return home, creating his magical labyrinth around the world in hopes to see his child once again. Sometime later, a young girl named Ophelia would discover a mysterious faun and her world would never be the same again.
What are you stressed about?
Well, I feel out of place. Like...
A fish out of water.
Exactly.
The uniquely large Phasmatodea, the stick insect as it's more commonly known, awakens from its slumber. The insect has been patiently waiting for a long time for the day a special unsuspecting stranger to solve a very unique puzzle. Fate has connected Ophelia to the stick insect. She can feel something special, it draws her in. The large insect would return at night, revealing itself to be an enchanted fairy, an otherworldly creature guiding her into an ancient labyrinth. Darkness and mystery engulfs Ophelia around every corner until a faun steps out of the shadows and presents itself to the young girl. The faun's large horns, flapping ears, and rapidly blinking eyes would terrify the young child. The cracking of the old bones and dirt crumbling tells us this creature has been hidden for a very long time. The faun is gleaming, believing Ophelia is the reincarnation of Princess Moana. An ancient book is handed to Ophelia by her new mysterious friend, as she is to complete 3 tasks in order to regain her immortality. And in doing so, she would also be able to return home to the Underworld, her kingdom. The faun releases 3 fairies as they ascend from a dark chest of wonders. They will accompany Ophelia as she begins her journey. The first task, to uncover a key from deep within the breadbasket of an insanely hungry, enormous toad.
The scene here is one of total, and I mean total panic. People are running every which way. Wow!
The book reveals Ophelia's first undertaking and guides her into a dark, muddy grotto hidden within a sickly tree. The chattering of hundreds of insects and the crushing crunch they emanate as Ophelia crawls her way inside. Claustrophobia and a fear of the unknown would cause most to quickly turn away. But Ophelia is strong, she's eager and wildly imaginative. Her curiosity and passion for adventure draws her deeper into the cavernous woodbark. Rooted further into the tree, a large toad reveals itself. Ophelia attempts to shame the creature, blaming the amphibian for the slow death of the tree as it devours the many bugs within. The beast's long, slippery tongue warns our princess to stay away, sparking an idea to use gluttony as a means to end this invasive species' stronghold over the sick tree. The book instructs Ophelia to make the toad swallow 3 magical stones to force its death, imploding the toad, revealing the key. With the trinket in her grasp, Ophelia, who is completely covered in muck, returns home as her mother's illness worsens. Worried about her condition, Ophelia receives a strange mandrake root from the fawn to help alleviate Carmen's ailment due to pregnancy complications. For the root's healing powers to commence, a regular blood donation must be provided as the mandrake is carefully placed under the bed directly below Carmen. It is now time for the second task. Oh, what horrible fate befell those who tread this path before us.
Here's an important message for kids who like to have fun.
Hey kids, now you can dial this number and all your favorite storybook characters will come to life on Storyphone. You'll hear a new and exciting story every day. Now that the secret's out, everyone's calling.
Call a Snow White Storyphone now. She's just waiting to hear from you.
Don't forget the number.
El Fauno gives Ophelia her second test, one that she must use the key she retrieved from the first one. He tells her that she must go to a dangerous place. Using a chalk, she is to trace a door and go in and retrieve the second item. El Fauno tells her that he will provide her the fairies to show her the way. He gives her a warning that she is going to come upon something inhuman, as well as a feast, and that she must not eat anything off the table as her life depends on. Ophelia takes the chalk and in her bedroom traces a door. She goes in through the door and turns over the hourglass, remembering that she must make it back before the sands run out. As she goes down the hallway, she comes upon a chamber where the pale man is sitting. She looks upon him, sees on a plate what appears to be eyes. Listen, if I came upon the pale man on my test, I would not have completed it. I would have turned the fuck back around. But that's just me. Ophelia then looks around the chamber and there's paintings on the walls of the pale man eating children. As she looks down to the side, there is a pile of children's shoes just stacked up there. Ophelia releases the fairies and they head to 3 little doors, where one points to the middle one. Ophelia goes to put the key in, but decides to use her instincts and opens up another door, revealing a dagger that she takes. As she turns around, she comes upon the pale man again and the food on the table. Not listening to the warning of El Fauno, she picks up a grape. The fairies are trying to stop her, but she swaps them away. When she eats the second one, she does not realize that the pale man had woken up, taken the eyeballs and put them on the palm of his hands, raising them up so he can see where she is at. As he is slowly making his way towards her, the fairies try to fight off the pale man. However, 2 of them get their heads bitten off. Ophelia starts to run away, realizing that she is running out of time because the sand is slowly running out. In a panic, she looks around. The door has closed, so she gets a stool and stands up and traces a door on the ceiling. As she crawls up, she is able to escape the pale man with the loss of 2 fairies.
Del Toro's affection for dark fantasy juxtaposed with real tangible horror, the worst kind of dread one can experience when it manifests right from home. Ophelia's revelation of her stepfather's sadistic nature would conflict with her ill mother's well-being. The brutal torture and murdering of his enemies would soon bleed over into Ophelia's reality. Captain Vidal's discovery of the mandrake root would ignite the short fuse that would cultivate in Carmen's death. Ophelia soon has a baby brother but loses her mother during the arduous labor. With Carmen out of the way and a son within his bloody hands, Ophelia soon finds herself in Vidal's crosshairs. After failing to escape, Ophelia, alongside the rebel spy Mercedes, are captured by Vidal and his men. With Ophelia ordered to her room, Mercedes escapes Vidal's grasp, wounding the captain and erasing his vanity before she rejoins the rebel Marquise. The Fawn returns to Ophelia and gives her another chance to complete a final task that involves retrieving her baby brother and returning him to the Labyrinth. Captain Vidal, unaware of Ophelia's presence, stitches his mouth back together as his stepdaughter spikes his favorite poison. With Vidal staggering, Ophelia caresses her brother and flees into the dark night. The drug captain, like the evil maniac that he is, pursues his children like a predator stalking its prey. The Fawn awaits Ophelia at the center of the labyrinth. A small drop of blood from the child is all that is needed to complete the third task. The only way for the portal to the Underworld to open is with the blood of an innocent. Ophelia is shocked and refuses to harm her baby brother. The Fawn becomes visibly angry with Ophelia. She weeps and continues to plead with the Fawn. Vidal discovers the labyrinth and witnesses Ophelia speaking to herself as he cannot see the Fawn. The maniac doesn't hesitate and retrieves his son from Ophelia's arms before shooting her point blank in the chest. Vidal walks away calmly as Ophelia falls to the cold ground, slowly bleeding out. The captain reaches the labyrinth's entrance where he is greeted by Mercedes, her brother Pedro, and the rest of the Spanish Marquise. With his fate sealed, Captain Vidal's final wish for his son to be told his time of death, but Pedro ain't having that shit as a single bullet pierces his brain. His son will never know his name, so says Mercedes. Ophelia lived a life of love, awe, and compassion. The death of innocence as her hand slumps over the portal and her warm blood begins to trickle down into the depths, splashing onto an altar, causing something truly remarkable. Ophelia awakens. A beautiful dress adorns her healed body. She walks into a spectacular golden throne room as the Fawn is the first to welcome the princess of the Underworld back home. They have been waiting a long time for her return. The king, sitting atop his throne, explains that Ophelia has successfully completed the third task. Ophelia's choice to not spill the blood of the innocent was praised by the Fawn as he addresses her as Your Highness. The queen invites Ophelia to her rightful seat next to her father and rule at his side. The story ends with Ophelia back at the labyrinth, smiling as she slowly dies. Princess Moana has returned, ruling with graciousness and honesty for many centuries. She had left small traces of her time on Earth, visible only to those who know where.